Hi, this is Pink Line Podcast, and I'm Cindy Smuck, your host. I've been thinking about what to talk about next, and really the one thing that is the biggest thing, and the reason why I wrote my book is because of all the signs, synchronicities, and the choreography of the universe that teaches us to kind of follow the path and that we're never really alone. And I think I'm going to try and stay on track. This is like the fifth time I'm trying to record this podcast, and I'm like all over the place because there's just so much here. So, as we talk about the signs, I think I'll start with that first. Let's just talk about signs. How many of you, and obviously you can't answer back, it's a podcast, but think about the signs that you either ask for or identify a loved one who's passed with. For example, a butterfly or, a bird. Um, Something that some people have coins, they find a lot of coins or feathers or different things like this. And oftentimes, other people will ridicule you because they think it's just, a feather or just a conveniently placed penny or whatever the case. It's just a bird, it's just a butterfly, but it's the timing of it that I think means the most, right? Or where the placement is of that sign that lets you know that that is your loved one communicating with you. Um, I believe you because before all of this happened to me, I probably would have been somebody who brushed it off, who saw coincidences as just mere coincidences. But because I went through what I went through, and all of these coincidences and signs kept piling up one after the other, for me, it became very clear and evidential that I was communicating with my father in law very specifically. And because of the oneness, I now understand that sometimes, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, that there's a synchronicity that goes on with these signs that is choreographed for us to observe and to learn this new language. Okay. That's how it kind of all goes together. At least that's what I've learned and how dad taught me from the other side. But let's talk about the signs because sometimes we get ridiculed. We feel like, I don't know, maybe shy or ashamed to talk about the things that we are starting to feel and honestly know. And that can happen more when you don't have support at home from your loved ones. Um, and people make you feel like you're going, you know, a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but you're not. You're not. And it would be wise to listen to that intuitive side of yourself and to pay attention to it and know it and trust it. And I'm going to encourage you to trust it. I had somebody, my mentor, Victoria, who supported me and who told me, you got to trust what you receive. Just trust it. It is so hard sometimes to trust things, right? Because we have gone through this world not being able to trust people. But the thing is you can always trust yourself. And that's where you've got to turn inward and start paying attention to the things inside of you, your senses, your five senses, all those feelings, intuitive knowings, thoughts, things you might hear, goosebumps on your skin, all of those things that people want you to dismiss. You should not dismiss because I'm here to tell you that the more you tune into those senses, the more you tune into your own intuition, um, the more you're going to understand all of this. Because all the answers are already inside of you, inside of your heart. And it's a matter of trusting yourself and not the outside noise. And if you listened to my last podcast, or maybe one of the videos, I was saying that my refrigerator was beeping and I couldn't get it to stop. I was like, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to let it be in my space. And that is true. But let me tell you, it was beeping for an entire week. And I went through this whole thing with it. Um, and I knew that it was meant to teach me something. And it was meant to teach me to focus in on myself and my inner knowing and whatever I was doing and to tune out the noise in the background. As annoying as it was for an entire week, I had to tune it out. And I got good at it actually by the end of the week. So for you, I'm going to encourage you, the listener, to pay more attention to yourself. So let's talk about the signs, because there's been a lot of them that have come in. And I'm going to kind of share them all with you so that you understand that they can't all be coincidences. When there's just so many of them, it's not random. It's very specifically designed. The choreography, as I talk about it, right? So remember, I asked for a penny from dad when I came back from my trip with mom, and a penny fell from the gate. That was the first thing. The second thing was I made the list, right? The four things on the list. If you don't remember, it was a 1979 penny, a pink lion, a blue softball, and any number sequences of 920. So I got the 1979 penny a week prior to going to the celebration of life for dad in July of last year, 2024. And that was on the desk upstairs in my bedroom, or mine and my husband's bedroom, sitting there on its own. Nobody had placed it there inside the house. Now I do have cleaning ladies come because I have a thought process that my house needs to be clean. I'm not usually the one that dirties it, so therefore I do not want to spend my time that's valuable to me, cleaning up other people's stuff. That's not what I want to do with my life. So I have help come in and help me out with that. Um, because I also don't feel like it's my job entirely. Like I don't know why I got assigned to it. Um, so if I don't do it though, it doesn't get done. That's just most women, I think, these days anyway, or for a very long time. But they came, they put it, I'm sure it was them, but why that coin, right? They had to have the thought to pick it up, put it there, like I had to find it, like all this different stuff occurs. It's the timing of all of it. That's the most important thing. And because it was a specific year, like I knew that that was the penny. Then when we arrived in Omaha, we went through several different things where dad was telling me to record the room. I was recording the room 3 different times, and 3 different times his like orb face thumbprint thing was like up in the corner. All that's in the book. I also have some videos on my social media posts. If you want to go and review those, I might be able to add them behind me when I go back and edit this. If you're watching this on YouTube. And the other sign came in 2 days after his celebration of life. Um, there were some gifts and cards, one gift and several cards that needed to be opened so that we could reply to people and send thank you notes. Mom and I were talking in her office, and we were deep in conversation about a few different things. And the radio behind me it was like a little boom box behind me, started playing music. It was Adele's Easy on Me that started playing. And I mean, that was incredible. But then I focused in on the gift bag and asked mom, hey, should I start opening these? She said, yes. I opened it up and there was the pink lion. And the pink lion is just this little beanie baby, pink cub, feline cub. Um, because I knew that asking for a pink lion, it wouldn't actually be a pink lion. It had to come in a different form. I thought maybe like a child's coloring or, something would happen where it would be different. But I had no idea it was going to come as a little stuffed animal. So when that happened, our whole family was just like, "Oh my god, like, you asked for a pink line. I never thought it would come, and, like, it's right here. Like, how did that happen?" Like, we didn't even know. We know who gave it to us, but we don't know what their reasoning was for ever giving it to us. They had no idea about my list. I really kept it very in our very small knit group because, again, judgment. People were gonna judge me for thinking I could communicate with dad. So I was a little concerned about it. Um, at the time. I don't care now. Let my freak flag fly. I don't care. This is who I am. Then the blue softball came 2 weeks or a week and a half after that. My brother-in-law found a blue, literally a child's rubber softball, like a softball, on the side of the road. It was like on the side of the road, on the ground, underneath a sign, like abandoned. There's no school, no houses, no nothing. There's no reason why it should be there. And it was bright blue. It's like, hello, right there. That put an exclamation point on all of our signs. I had already received the 920. And again, I'll let you know in case you haven't heard the other podcasts, I keep that particular gift to myself. I'm not sharing it with anyone. Um, Flash forward, there's all sorts of signs, feathers, different things that kind of happen throughout the year. There was a synchronicity that happened, which was really odd. I'm going to tell you this because of how things have played out since. On April 3rd of 2025, there was this interesting synchronicity where all of us, that from the Smuck family, where dad was like pinging on all of us. And we live in California, in Nebraska, and in Virginia. And so between the three families or four families, between mom at home, my brother-in-law and his wife in Nebraska, my brother-in-law and his wife in Virginia, and me and my husband here in California, we were all pinging on the same day with different things dad was doing. And I'll explain this to you. It's crazy. I went and picked my daughter up from school to take her to gymnastics. School ended. She now has gymnastics. On the way, I'm hearing these songs on my radio station on my app. It's my playlist, but after my playlist plays, there's only at the time, there was about 8 songs on it. And then it starts playing random songs. So I call it like the music channel, right? At the time, Spirit was using that particular channel to communicate what they wanted to say to either clients of mine, myself, or whatever. And I was getting music from dad, which was not abnormal, but also I was hesitant. Anyway, I started to feel him coming in. He wanted to talk to Miranda, so I read her and delivered the message, and she went into gymnastics. Within like 30 seconds of her leaving the car, I get a text bing on my phone, and it's my brother-in-law in Nebraska. And he's showing me another video, or all of us, like we have this family thread. And on the family thread, he sent this video of him walking his dogs in these backwoods near his home. And this is a completely separate blue ball that he now found. It was another ball, exactly the same as the first one, just slightly different color, but not very different. And he found another blue ball. Meanwhile, I had dad's coming through to me, and unbeknownst to me at the time, mom had seen his essence or his ghost earlier that day around 10 a.m. Or around 10:30 in the morning, sitting up from his chair at their home. And then he got up and walked away. So he was showing us some stuff on April 3rd. But as I drove away and I'm like getting all these messages as they're kind of coming through, the song that we associate with him and his passing is Daddy Doesn't Pray Anymore by Chris Stapleton. That started playing. And I'm waiting to get to a stoplight so I can take a picture on my phone really quick, safely. Because I just had that thought really quick, and I'm driving and I get to the stop sign and I take the picture real quick and send it, not realizing the time that I snapped the photo. The time that I snapped the photo was 3:28 p.m. Dad died on March 28th of 2024. Okay. You start adding all this stuff up. And in Virginia, my brother-in-law, who associates with the cardinal, saw the cardinal that morning. His wife was taking photos of these two geese. Now, there's a whole story behind the geese and a reading I had done 2 months earlier, group reading for the family 2 months earlier, where geese came through, um, as a way of showing. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's private for them. But basically, that was like another validation. And so it was this whole thing like happening between all of us in 3 different states around the same time. Um, Unbeknownst to me, I didn't even associate that date with my uncle's birthday. My uncle wound up passing a few months later on my mother-in-law's birthday, which she turned 77 on July 7th. So 77 on 7/7, and my uncle passed on 7/7. That's a lot of sevens. And again, these things can't be coincidence. When my uncle passed, it was like this whole thing. I was finishing editing Pink Lion and he passed. And when he passed, it was tragically passed of a tragic, well, he had a catastrophic brain injury. Like he died suddenly falling at home. And I felt him come through the morning he fell, and it took him 4 days for his body to actually pass after the fall. So during that time frame, he was coming in to me and talking to me. Anyway, so started the whole second book. The second the second book starts with him passing, and they're still talking type of thing. They still want to put an exclamation point on this for you guys. This whole thing is for you guys so that you start to understand what you are coming into your own knowing about. I know for me, when I first started going through all this in the spring and early summer of 2024, I had no idea where to turn to. I had no idea what this all meant, what was going on. Like I was trying to consume a lot of information and it felt very isolating because people didn't believe me. Well, not at first anyway, or they were skeptical, which is fine to be skeptical. But honestly, I really needed support because I thought something was wrong with me, but nothing was wrong with me. I was just returning to a remembrance. That's all. I was just starting to remember who I am and what this is all about. So I'll invite you to read the book. I'll invite you into these podcasts, and it's just an invitation. And if it speaks to you, great. And if it doesn't, let it go on by. No big deal. However, this past summer, I had to take my mother-in-law from Omaha to Virginia. She had a home built in Virginia to be closer to her youngest son and his family. And the final leg of our trip, because I took her from Vegas to Omaha after Dad passes, now Omaha to Virginia. We do these road trips. So now we've traveled across the country, which I had always wanted to do. And I got to do it with my mother-in-law. And that's just such a gift. And I'm so grateful for it. And I kept thinking, well, I kept getting these messages that I needed to document. And just like I had been documenting, like very intuitively, not realizing I would eventually do a book because I had no idea I was going to do a book until about 2 weeks before I even wrote it. It took me a week and a half to write it. It didn't take that long because it was just basically writing what Dad told me to, word for word, exactly what was going on. Of course, it's not word for word, but basically saying we're guiding you, we're teaching you, we're putting it all out there for you to share with the collective, to share with everyone. And so that's what I did. And I thought, well, what the heck am I going to document this trip? Like what's going to happen? And at some point I was doing another reading with another medium. A lot of times we practice and exchange, or we sit for other mediums, et cetera, to just help in overall development. And it's meant to be a supportive circle type thing. And my uncle came through, and he was giving this poor woman such a hard time. And he eventually tell her, like, you need to work on your signs. Like, you don't know how to identify them very well. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of judgy. Like, what's that all about? But I think what he was trying to tell me is I need to work on my signs. I need to make a new list, because I was debating what to do. I had no idea what what I would be documenting. Like, what am I documenting? And so sometimes you just have to trust and like surrender to it and just like kind of know. But this particular reading, I knew exactly what he was trying to say. So he told her she's shitty at reading her her signs, which was her words coming out of her mouth that she said, and that he's just going to go back to helping me write my book. Now, she had no idea I had written a book at the time, so I knew exactly what he was trying to say. And so I created a new list. And this list had 5 items on it. The 5 items was a 1972 nickel, a purple cowboy hat, a blue owl, a black floppy-eared bunny, and any coin in the year 1949. Because I thought that would actually be the hardest one to provide, yet it was the second item I found. The blue owl came through first, then the 1949 coin, it was a penny. Then, what did I get? The purple cowboy hat came next. And then the floppy-eared bunny, and the last thing was the 1972 nickel. And I had gotten everything in that 2 weeks I was gone, helping my mother-in-law move. I had gotten everything. And when I returned home, it was like August 25th or 26th or something, whatever that last Saturday was. When I had gotten home, my husband, actually, before I got on the plane in Norfolk, my husband was waking up here, and he knew about the list and hadn't once in those 2 weeks I was gone thought to himself to check his nightstand drawer for the 1972 nickel. Not one time. But he woke up and he had an immediate thought to look in his nightstand drawer, and in there he found the 1972 nickel. Now, mind you, I had looked everywhere for it. I'd kept my eyes open the whole time for it. And it was here the whole time, because 1972 is my year of birth. 1949 is my uncle's year of birth. The purple cowboy hat was associated to him. The black floppy-eared bunny, his wife, my aunt. And the blue owl is for me and one of my other friends who were working on stuff together. Blue owl was for that, because we found owl feathers like on the same weekend randomly, like same weekend in July, the last weekend of July. We both found them. We live in 2 opposite states on 2 different coasts. She's in Connecticut. I'm here in California. That doesn't happen. That's what I'm talking about. These coincidences, they're not coincidences. You can't have that many and think that to yourself like, well, that's just a coincidence. It's not just a coincidence anymore. When they keep stacking up like that, that's truth. That's evidence. And it's important to pay attention, and it's important to trust yourself, because you know, and you feel it in you. Everything in you says yes. And then people try to put doubt in your mind. Don't let them doubt you. And also don't doubt yourself, because you're the one person that you're supposed to listen to. I think that's it for now. For today, I'm going to talk about the synchronicity and the choreography a little bit later, because when you start seeing how everything weaves together and you start realizing we're part of the oneness, there isn't any way to deny it anymore. Everything that you have been told, pretty much in any sort of traditional institution, has not been what is truth. And while that may seem like such a bold statement or maybe a little kooky, it's not. It's literally, I'm telling you the truth. It's not my truth, it's the truth. And so I just want you, because I trust you, to turn inside yourself and know what I'm telling you is correct. that little ping inside you will tell you, yes, that's right. And if this reaches one person and it helps somebody, great. If it reaches more, that's awesome too. This will be meant for whomever is meant to hear it. And I am honored to be able to tell my story so that it resonates with you somehow. And I invite you to give me feedback. I invite you to maybe comment or share, subscribe, like, whatever. Um, Hopefully, it reaches more people. And if you're interested in the book and learning about not just my story, but our story, it's just like our story. Um, you can always find my book on Amazon. It's Pink Lion Stories from the Threshold Between Worlds. And you can see what happened in that year after dad passed. And I'll be getting that second book up fairly soon. Anyway, it's been great to talk to you guys. I want to do more interactive stuff. Probably going to do some lives on TikTok. Hopefully, I'll get more subscribers on YouTube, and I can actually go live on YouTube at some point too. That's the only thing holding me back. So it'd be great to get some followers there as well, some subscribers. But whatever you feel comfortable with sharing, that would be fantastic. I'd love to hear it. And maybe I'll share it on one of these pods. Um, and I hope you guys are feeling comfortable getting to know me and my story. And I'll be having some guests fairly soon. All right. Thank you so much. Have a really good week, and I will chat with you soon. Bye.